The oak and the reed. On the bank of a peaceful river stood a magnificent oak tree. Its trunk was thick and strong, and its branches spread wide across the sky. The oak had stood in that spot for over 100 years, surviving countless storms and seasons. Near the base of the oak, a slender reed grew at the water's edge. It was thin and flexible, bending gently whenever the wind blew across the river. One day, the oak looked down at the reed and felt sorry for it. "You poor thing," said the oak in a deep, booming voice. "Nature has been unfair to you. Look at how weak you are. Every little breeze makes you bow down. Every bird that lands on you makes you bend. You must live a difficult life." The reed swayed slightly in the wind, but replied politely, "Thank you for your concern, mighty oak, but I'm quite content with how I am." "Content?" laughed the oak. "How can you be content when you're so fragile? Now look at me. I'm strong enough to block the sun's rays. My branches provide shade for travelers. No wind can push me over. I stand tall and proud, no matter what nature throws at me." "That's very impressive," said the reed humbly. "You are certainly powerful. But perhaps we each have our own way of surviving." The oak shook its branches dismissively. "Your way of surviving is simply accepting weakness. I, on the other hand, face every challenge head-on. I resist every storm. That's what real strength is." The reed didn't argue further. It simply continued to grow peacefully by the river. Several weeks later, dark clouds gathered on the horizon. The sky turned an ominous gray and the air became heavy and still. A massive storm was approaching, the kind that only came once every few decades. Soon, violent winds began to howl across the landscape. Rain poured down in thick sheets. The river swelled and churned with powerful currents. The oak stood firm just as it always had. "I will not bend," it declared proudly, extending its branches defiantly against the wind. "I am too strong to surrender." The reed, meanwhile, bent low as the wind struck. It curved nearly flat against the ground, offering no resistance to the powerful gusts. The storm intensified. The winds grew stronger and stronger. The oak continued to resist with all its might, refusing to yield even an inch. But the storm was relentless. The winds pushed harder and harder against the rigid trunk and outstretched branches. Finally, with a tremendous cracking sound that echoed across the valley, the oak's roots tore from the earth. The mighty tree crashed to the ground, its trunk split and its branches shattered. When the storm finally passed, the reed slowly rose back up, undamaged. It continued to sway gently in the breeze, just as it always had. Moral of the story: sometimes it's wiser to bend than to break. Flexibility and adaptability can be greater strengths than rigid resistance.